So I was going to make a video testing how much poke you can make catching Hoppip for 1 hour, because generally the fairy egg group is a pretty good one to catch since they have a really good solid base price of fairy males going for around 3k. But then I realized fairy egg group good IV Pokemon are so stupid cheap. And I know this is the case all over all egg groups right now in PokeMMO. Right now, good IV Pokemon are just way too freaking cheap, which is why breeding is so profitable. But to see this for one of the more desired ones, like the fairy egg group, is pretty shocking to me. So we're going to abuse that today. As you can see, I'm currently at 50,192,000 Pokeyen, so I'm going to spend 92,000 Pokeyen of that and see how much profit I can make by spending 92k. And I'm going to be specifically breeding Togekiss today. Togekiss is a really good Pokemon in PvP. It's pretty freaking desired depending on the metagame. Honestly, right now, I didn't expect that, but it is kind of dropping. Maybe that's why it's just so under, the fairy egg group in general is just so under desired at the moment. Togetic can actually show off an NU at times, but yeah, that's pretty niche, especially at the moment. Togekiss has also historically been a really good PVM Pokemon. People use them for high-end gym reruns, as well as Togekiss was a meta Pokemon for the 10th anniversary boss fight, which was how you got alpha starters. Well, let's start off this challenge and see what Togetics I can find. Togekiss is definitely a Pokemon that needs every single stat except for attack. You really do want all of that bulk. Now, something that I've been kind of getting used to and trying to jump on the train for is by searching for all the IVs you might need and then working with the required minimum IVs. Essentially, what this is going to do is going to filter for the cheapest Togetic with any 31 IV at all in the stats that it needs. This Togetic is pretty interesting. It's the cheapest one at 5k. It's got a 31 here, 28 plus in 2 other stats that it needs, and then it's missing 2 stats that it needs. That's a really solid Togetic. I might pick that one up. I probably will, but there's also this one for 5,300 Pokeyen, which is only missing 1 stat that it needs. That's why you don't want to just insta buy stuff. You want to take your time, slowly go through, make sure you're picking up the best deals possible. A tough part about this challenge is going to be to not go over that 92k mark and making sure I leave enough Pokeyen to actually carry out breeds. If I end up with like 104k Pokeyen or even like 112k, I'm probably not going to be able to finish a breed from that point forward. Alright, so we bought our Togetic. We also need a special defense brace. Now we need a breeder for this Togetic. Now, the biggest problem here is that we are going to need a Ditto since this Togetic is male, but I kind of knew that and expected that coming into this one. I think it's okay to go ahead and do a Ditto breed for our first breed, especially this one. We're paying kind of a lot of Pokeyen for this. I'm going to actually lower some of the stats to see if we could just high roll something or get something a lot cheaper. So we're seeing 22k comparatively to the 29k, and the only main difference here is that 23 defense. The HP is still 25 plus, and we're already rolling. We're actually 23 HP on the Togetic. So we're a little on the lower end there anyway. This is probably the one that I go ahead and pick up. But if I lower my special attack all the way down to 20, I can also see this one for 8k. And I think that's cheap enough. Obviously, we're going to be lowering the special attack on average there a little bit. But I think that one is so cheap that I can't help but pick it up. Like, that's just a perfect breeder for it. It's only been listed for less than an hour. When you see a breeder like that that's been listed for less than an hour, usually that means it's a really good sale and it just hasn't kind of sold yet. So let's put these braces on these Pokemon, get these guys cooking in the daycare. And I have 60k Pokeyen. So that means this breed only cost me 32,000 Pokeyen for a 2x31 Togepi with 20 plus in every other stat, most likely 25 plus. Now, we have to hope for some sort of good nature roll here, but that's most of what breeding is. Now, one of the more annoying parts of breeding Togepi is that you have to actually select for, you have to actually, level up the Togepi to breed it again. I'm not going to pay for gender here because I don't really want to have to breed the Togepi up again, but I probably will have to actually end up leveling them up anyway before I can actually sell them. Most people aren't going to be looking to buy Togepis because it's so much of an quote-unquote annoyance, but it's really not that bad. All right, continuing on, if I look up for a female Togetic this time, I see female, I do 20 plus, and I get 4 of the stats matching. So that means at least 4 of the stats that it needs are going to be 20 plus. This one also is 20 plus in every stat, but it needs nature. That's kind of interesting. This one we would be bracing 31 speed onto, which is super good. But before I buy that one, let me go ahead and check how much a breeder for that would cost. So we can just straight up see how much we might be spending on that breed preemptively before we even go through with it. The best breeder we'd probably be buying would be 18k. Let's see if we could, is there any way to lower that? We could end up like bracing one of the stats, but the problem is, yeah, it's never gonna get cheap enough. It'd have to be like 5k or less. If the Pokemon, if we could see a Pokemon here that was like 5 to 6k or something like that, well, there's one for 6k, I was gonna say, then maybe it is worth to brace the defense on the Togetic, and that actually makes it cheaper. Okay, so we actually do see, so let's go back to that Togetic and see whether it'd be better to brace the HP or the defense. All right, so back over to our Togetic, we can see that it has a 30 defense IV, so I am going to go ahead and buy that one and then go find that one where we could actually brace the defense on the Togetic. So I know I'm going a little bit fast, so I'm going to slow down to explain it a little bit here, but essentially what I'm doing is I'm buying a Snorunt for 6k, and then I'll end up having to spend 10 more k on the defense brace on the Togetic, whereas otherwise, if I went ahead, so it's going to be 16k in total for that partnering breed, where otherwise if I went ahead and did this, it would have cost me 18k, so I'm saving a whopping 2k Pokeyen for all of this extra effort. But hey man, 2k Pokeyen is 2k Pokeyen. For a lot of players that really matters, especially on a challenge like this. Next, I do have to buy my speed brace and my defense brace, which is really going to deplete my Pokeyen stack. So there I am down to 26,000 Pokeyen. Can I do another breed for 26k? I'm going to have to be careful, and I can't do double braces for that breed for sure. Let's go pop this bad boy into the old man right here, just like so. 30, 20 plus in every stat. We're going to go ahead and go through with it. Yup, that's totally okay. Perfect, perfect. And our other Togepi hatch came out Calm Nature. That's usable. This is, wow, this turned out to be a really, really good Togepi. And that's the beauty of breeding for profit, is like usually breeding for profit is consistently breeding for around 5 to 20k profit, maybe 50k at peaks, like, you know, if you get like if you find a good little gap in the market. But occasionally you're gonna roll that random nature that's actually usable for the Pokemon. Let's go see how many Togekisses are running Calm Nature. I would guess at least some of them, maybe not the most, but like 6%. It's a usable nature. Most people will go bold. I guess most are going timid right now, but historically a lot will go bold, and then some will go calm depending on if they want to surprise the opponent. So I think calm is very usable. All right, but with our final 26,000 Pokeyen, can we really find a breeder for this? I think we might be able to. Wow, this one could honestly just be flipped. Modest nature, 20 plus in every single stat that it needs. Oof, yeah, that one's just straight up flippable, but that's not what we're here for in this challenge, so it makes it a little tougher. I don't know if I could find a breeder for that, but let's take this female one. This female is 20 plus in every single stat that it needs, but it's missing nature. I would literally just be buying this one to create this one, is kind of the funny thing here. I'm not gonna lie, this is definitely where the tough part of the challenge comes in. Trying to find the perfect amount of Pokeyen to fit this final breed is definitely proving a little bit challenging, but I think I found one. Let me go ahead and search back for Togepi. I think if I go ahead and I pick up, was it this Togepi? Oh no, I think it was this Togepi for 3,300 Pokeyen, and then I am to buy a Ditto for, I think it was 12k or so. Now I kind of forget, but if we're to buy this, 15k, and then one brace to actually even it out, that would actually work. The problem is I will have to go spend some time actually raising the happiness of this Togepi, but I think it's worth it, and I can actually show you guys a little tip slash trick if you ever need to raise the happiness of a Pokemon, especially in Kanto. Yeah, this Ditto is going to end up being the cheapest, so we're going to go ahead and spend 10k on that. That's totally okay. And we're going to go back to our Togepi and pick that up, which is going to end up costing us around 3k. That'll work out. It's going to leave us with 12k to spend, and that's perfect. That'll let us pick up our HP brace, and then bam, we are done spending Pokeyen. Let's get this final breed ready to go, and then we'll check our 2 Togepis that have hatched. And then we'll price check everything at the end, sell everything off, and show you guys how much Pokeyen you could make. But first things first, fun little tip that's a lot of you may know for happiness, but it's a really easy one not to know in PokeMMO. If you head over to Gary Oak's sister in Kanto, right, and you go talk to her and you ask her, hey, can you like groom a Pokemon for me? She'll essentially like brush them and give them a little bit of happiness. So we're going to groom this Togepi in that bottom slot, and then watch this. For free, spending 0 Pokeyen, we brought it up to 49% happiness, which helps you save a bit on the berries that you will have to spend to raise these Pokemon happiness. But generally, I have the berries sitting around, thankfully, just for playing the game for a very long time. Or if you really want to save money, you could just go XP train them, and gaining XP will also make them level up. It's a bit tougher when level 55, though. Like this one, I would not recommend XP training for happiness. That's going to take a really long time. Once you raise their happiness by feeding them the correct berries to actually give them that amount of happiness up to 88%, you do need to level them up with enough XP, either via wild battles or XP candies, to actually get them to evolve. If you're looking for a full happiness guide, if you just Google PokeMMO happiness guide, I do have a full video on the subject. But now that my Togepi has become a Togetic, now it can breed with my Ditto, so we can go ahead and go put an HP brace over on the Ditto, not passing the nature or anything, and this is what the final breed would look like. So for 92,000 Pokeyen, just for 92,000 Pokeyen, we have the chance of making 3 potentially competitive Togekiss. Now, it's unlikely that this one rolls out into a good nature and that all 3 roll out into a good nature. We did make 1, which is very, very cool, but it's unlikely. Here we go. There's our other one, the brave natured one. So yeah, that is not usable. This would definitely have to get bought and rebred by someone else, or you could just take it and rebreed it yourself if you really want to. Now, amazingly, if we look up Toga and we search for 31 speed, 20 plus in every other stat, not even assuming the double 31, and we look for one with the most usable nature, we don't really see a 2x31 or a super good one for a while. This one's quite good at timid, but it is 1x31 as opposed to our 2x31, and ours is at 31 special defense, which is where one of their lowest stats is. I would go ahead and guesstimate that this one Togepi, that once again, we bred 3 Togepi for 92,000 Pokeyen. I would get, or 90, actually we didn't spend the 2k, so 90k. I would guess that this one Togepi, I would probably go ahead and list this for 150k. This is a fantastic UT that someone could go ahead and buy for 150k, EV train and XP train up to level 50, and then have a competitive Togekiss ready to use. Now, I am actually going to be keeping this Togepi, and whenever I do videos like this, it is all expected profit, so it's important to keep with a grain of salt. I will say, I've been playing the game for 8,000 hours. I do feel as though the market is really consistent, and if you understand it and you price things accordingly, they do sell pretty accurately. It's not like some shocker like, oh, I can't believe this Pokemon didn't sell. Usually it's because you mispriced it or there's some mistake. I would say 90% of things that I list on the GTL do sell within 2 to 3 weeks, and then which is like one listing cycle. And then I would say that the other like 9% is mispricings and human error, because that just happens when you list so many Pokemon. And then I would say 1% is something that was a little too niche that needed to be changed a little bit before it got sold off. So I'm going to bring up my trusty Windows calculator, and I'm going to calc this at 145k after the listing fee. So that's our current total profit or total revenue coming in, not our profit. We'll calc profit at the end. Next up is our other Togekiss. I'm going to be keeping this one though, because I actually really need a competitive Togekiss, so that'll be perfect for my own purposes. This one is not nearly as good. It doesn't have the timid nature that this one has. It doesn't have double 31. It doesn't have any usable nature. I would probably go ahead and list this one for around probably 40k, probably plus 35k after the listing fee. I think that's reasonable, maybe even around 30k. So that's kind of up to you. I'm going to guesstimate, yeah, we're at 180k total so far. I am going to go ahead and sell this one off, honestly, for that price. So you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'd rather underestimate than overestimate. I'm going to subtract minus 8k, because I think I am going to list this one for 35k. I think it will sell for that price with all those 20 pluses. So I think that's a solid, yeah, I think that's pretty fair given that market. All right, and our final Togepi has hatched. It came out adamant, which is not a usable nature on Togekiss. Let's go ahead and see what this would sell for. I would do 31 HP and then 20 plus in every other stat. You don't want to do 25 pluses because you don't want to like get it too specific, and then you don't really get accurate price checks. But even with that, let's lower it to Togepi. Oof, that's kind of tough. This is going to be a tough one to price check. There's just nothing accurate at all. Obviously this is too low because it's missing any 31s at all. This one is a 31 attack, so it's not great. None of these are looking that accurate. What I would do here is I would go ahead and get rid of everything and just do 31 HP. And I know 31 HP is going to be super cheap. What if I throw in like some of the extra 20s? The problem is having all the 20s is super crucial. Like this person needs to, when you're missing a 20 here, this Pokemon essentially needs 2 more breeds. You have to brace a speed and get that up, and then you also have to breed it again for nature. But a Togepi like this, it only needs 1 more breed. All you have to do is essentially Everstone to get the nature onto it, and then bam, boom, you're done. So the price difference of needing 1 breed to finish a Pokemon versus 2 is going to be really significant. This is definitely going to come down to like kind of personal guessing and experience. If I sold that last Togepi for 35k. This one would probably go for a similar amount, but probably slightly less. Honestly, thinking about it, I think I underlisted that Togepi, the 31 speed one, but that's okay. Once again, I'd rather underlist than overlist. I'd probably go ahead and go like 32k on this, weirdly enough, because it's going to take care of the listing fee price as well. So I think that's a fair price for it. I'll list it for 32k, add plus 30k over on the calculator, and then bam, there we go. So I spend 90k Pokeyen. I'm going to end up with around 200k total revenue. If we subtract the 90k cost, we're going to end up with 112,000 Pokeyen profit within 3 breeds, while also not needing access to that much Pokeyen. Generally, breeding for profit is a very, like, you need a lot of capital to really breed a ton for profit, but even if you have 100,000 Pokeyen, you can actually breed for profit pretty well. The scary thing is that it does take a lot of knowledge and practice, etc., etc., so you will make mistakes. If you're learning breeding, odds are you'll lose some Pokeyen, which sucks. You're going to make those mistakes, but once you make those mistakes and it costs you that Pokeyen, odds are you'll remember it and never make that same mistake again. So just take it with stride, try to learn breeding. It's super incredible once you do learn it, but it can be a really intimidating mechanic. But that's it for me, just a fun little video showing off some breeding for profit since I was planning to do something else and I thought that this would actually be better. Hopefully this either taught you guys something, was good entertaining background content, or gave you some ideas to do today while playing PokeMMO. Like the video if you enjoyed it, that helped me out tremendously. Dislike if not, that's totally okay. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. I do upload every single day. I also stream Monday through Friday now on Twitch at 12 p.m. ET. Discord is linked down below, and if you want to go above and beyond and support my content, if it's been helpful enough to you to warrant it, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo do keep the channel going, and all of you are super appreciated. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace, Reno. Hey, thanks so much for watching the entire video all the way to the end. I really appreciate that, and I hope it was a positive asset to your day. And I also want to quickly say extra thank you to everybody whose name is on this list and goes above and beyond and allows me to do what I do. Thank you very much. Have a good one.